Imagine standing on a busy city street in 1895, surrounded by the sound of hooves. Now imagine someone tapping your shoulder and telling you that within a few decades, all of these horses will vanish entirely. Or jump forward a century to 1995. You're buying a stamp to mail a letter, and a stranger insists that post offices and physical mail are about to become completely obsolete. In both of those moments, normal, rational people would have laughed out loud. The predictions sounded completely absurd because they directly contradicted how everyday life functioned. Today, we see that exact same reaction happening again. When emerging technologies like artificial intelligence or Bitcoin are brought up, society is quick to point out their flaws and laugh them off. This happens because of a cognitive bias called the version 1.0 trap. It occurs when we compare a messy, newborn invention that is barely off the ground to the perfected, mature peak of an existing system. Failing to recognize this trap keeps us stuck in the present. It blinds us to the actual trajectory of human progress, turning us into victims of change rather than people who benefit from it. In 1895, the horse was essentially version 100 of transportation. It was highly reliable, it ran on a cheap fuel called grass, and it could traverse mud, rocks, and uneven terrain without issue. By contrast, the version 1.0 car was terrible. It was incredibly loud, it broke down constantly, there were no mechanics to fix it, and gas stations didn't even exist yet. Critics looked at this loud, smelly contraption and assumed the technology would simply stop developing. They evaluated the car exactly as it existed on that specific day. What they couldn't see was the infrastructure that was about to be built around it. They missed the upcoming rollout of paved highways, the construction of corner gas stations, and the efficiency of mass production. Cars won because a biological animal has a hard physical limit on its speed and endurance. A mechanical engine has a vastly higher evolutionary ceiling. A century later, society enjoyed the version 100 of media. You held a crisp physical newspaper with your morning coffee, and you trusted the postal system to deliver letters directly to your door. Then came the version 1.0 internet. It required a massive, expensive computer. It tied up your phone line with agonizingly slow dial-up speeds and those loud, screeching modem noises. People actively questioned why anyone would wait minutes to read a blurry screen when printed paper was already cheap and perfect. They evaluated the internet merely as a worse, slower version of the mail. In reality, the internet allowed data to flow between millions of points simultaneously. This removed the physical constraints of distance and paper, creating a global web of information moving at light speed. The critics failed to imagine how that clunky desktop novelty would steadily improve, shrink down to fit inside our pockets, and evolve into the invisible infrastructure running the modern world. Fast forward to today, the dominant narrative around Bitcoin is that it's slow, volatile, and completely unnecessary when we already have instant mobile banking and credit cards. Once again, people are falling into the exact same trap. They are viewing Bitcoin merely as a clunky, inefficient version of digital cash. Historically, transferring money required a central authority to verify the ledger and prevent spending the same dollar twice, known as double spending. Bitcoin removes this central bank. It solves double spending through a distributed network of participants who simultaneously verify the ledger together.
That allowed anyone to transfer data without relying on the post office. This protocol allows two people to transfer value without relying on a centralized clearinghouse. Right now, that protocol is still in its rough early phase. It has constraints, much like the 1895 car or the 1995 dial-up modem. The true value isn't found in its current clunky form. The value lies in its mathematical potential to operate as a completely trustless, borderless protocol for global finance. When these shifts happen, the new technology rarely destroys the old world entirely. Cars did not erase trains, and the internet did not erase all physical media. Instead, these innovations force old systems to adapt. The blacksmith who learned to service engines became the town's first mechanic, while those who chose to ignore the shift saw their trade eventually vanish. Human resistance in these moments isn't actually about the technology. People don't hate the machine itself. They hate the deep, uncomfortable realization that they have to relearn how the world works. Historically, society splits into three specific groups when these transitions occur: those who laugh at them, those who actively try to resist them, and those who sit down to learn them early. Because those who lean into the struggle of learning a new system are the ones who build and own the next era. The choice today is yours. Are you staring at a failure? Or are you just looking at version 1.0?